B10 Paul Billings. And on the outside, the number 84 of Steve Billings. Row number 2 on the inside, second generation driver out of Mallorytown, Ontario, the number 8 of Chris Pryer. On the outside will go the 17 of Ian Gording. Third row on the inside, that's the 96 of Randy Gaudet. And on the outside, the number 54 of Kyle Grundy. And next, the number 74 of Mark Barker. Mark Barker in the 74. We are missing the 54 of Kyle Grundy. Kyle having some problems during the hot lap session. Hopefully they'll get that corrected and he'll be able to make the feature go for the vintage. All right, vintage cars. Time to turn back the clock. Here they come off that number 4 turn and down the front straightaway. Green flag is out and we're off and racing here at Can-Am. And it's a mad dash into that number 1 and 2 turn up on the outside. Steve Billings takes that lead. Oh, way out on the high side of the speedway. Ian Gording had to collect that and bring it back in again, and he's all the way back to the number 5 spot. Off the turn they come. Side-by-side racing action still. And it's the 84 of Steve Billings trying to get up in front of the B10 of Paul Billings for that number 1 spot. As they come around off that number 4 turn. Up in front, it's still Paul Billings in the B10. Steve Billings right there in the number 2 spot. Randy Gaudet rides back there in 3rd. Ian Gording trying to get to the inside of the familiar orange and white of Chris Pryer, that number 8, and Chris is going all the way to the back in that number 8 car. Round the turn they come. And the battle is on for the number 2 spot as Gaudet will take over 2nd. Still up in front, Paul Billings in the B10. Gaudet sits there in the number 2 spot. Steve Billings is back there in 3rd. Ian Gording is 4th. Pryor sits back there in the number 5 spot, and then Mark Barker in the 74. 2 laps to go for Paul Billings in the B10. Gaudet is still there in the number 2 spot, then a gap of 3 back to the 84 of Steve Billings. Ian Gording sits there in 4th, Pryor is 5th, and then Barker back there in the number 6 spot. White flag is out, and Paul Billings maintaining about a 3-car length lead over Gaudet in that 96. Billings still there 3rd. He's getting some pressure from Ian Gording in the 17. Gordon up to the outside part of the racetrack, trying to take over the number 3 spot, way out to the outside part of the track. Almost lost it out there as the checkered flag comes out, and Paul Billings will win it. Randy Gaudet will get the number 2 spot. Steve Billings will finish in 3rd. Ian Gording will be 4th. And the 74 of Mark Barker will round out the top 5. Chris Pryer in 6th. That is Vintage Heat number 1. Vintage Heat number 2 coming up. And to call all the action for you, the voice of Can-Am International Speedway, Tim Balls. Tim?
Thank you very much, Jamie. Great call as always. It's almost like you never left.
I don't know what you were listening to. You better go to a hearing doctor as soon as you can.
I got both of my ears are working just fine, and I heard some great calls. Great job as always.
Well, thank you. I think you're a little biased, but that's okay.
Well, thank you. We got set to go. Heat race number 2 for the Eastern Ontario Vintage Stock Car Club, and it's going to be Timmy Bailey on the pole in the number 85. Alongside of him will be Jeff Cledgett in the number 6. Row number 2, Joey Hilts in the 83 with Greg Hale defending race winner in the 28. Xavier Perrin won the first 2 races of this series at Brockville and Cornwall earlier in this season in the 63, along with Tim Charland in the number 12. Final row, it's Denzil Billings Jr. in the B22 machine. That is your starting order for heat race number 2 of 2 for the Eastern Ontario Vintage Stock Car Club. Coming up after this, we'll have the first of 2 Donath Motor Works Limited Sportsman heat races. Should be a good show. Good folks at Toys for Tots on hand with us tonight. Set for green, 6 laps is the distance. Director of Traffic Control, Mike Leclerc, turns the field loose and we're underway. And they'll set it up into turn number 1 and 2. Jeff Cledgett to the point. Tim Bailey right there for second. Bailey, longtime karting regular here at Can-Am and across the North Country, holding on to position number 2. Greg Hale won a lot of races and track championships in his career in full fender competition. Defending champion of the Eastern Ontario Vintage Club in the 50-60s class. Taking it down to that inside lane, trying to get second from Bailey. Won't quite happen. Xavier Perrin working in the 4 spot, man out of Prescott, Ontario, Canada, the grandson of former modified and sportsman driver Ernie Perrin from years gone by. Joey Hilts up into the top 5 early on as well as they click off lap number 2 of 6. And Jeff Cledgett remains in control. A little smoke showing out of the back of the 28 of Greg Hale as he works it up into turn number 1 and 2. Everybody fast right now. That track is definitely tacky. He was down there for opening ceremonies. And I'll tell you what, that racetrack is sticky as sticky can be as they work it into turn number 3 and 4. Down to the line, Cledgett holding a pretty wheel out there, holding on to the lead. 3 down, 3 more to go. Cledgett, Bailey, and Hale 1, 2, and 3 as they go to turn number 1 and 2. Still some smoke showing out of the right rear of the 28 of Hale. We'll keep our eye on him, however, as they work it down the back straightaway. Now Hale trying to pull alongside the 85 of Bailey to try for second. That didn't quite work. Tim Bailey still holding on to the 2 spot as they come down across the line, this time by with 2 laps left to go. Cledgett still to the point as they go to 1 and 2, and the 85 of Bailey right there with them. 4 good cars right there. They all could win this one. It's Cledgett, Bailey, Hale, and Perrin, the top 4, in a good battle for 5th with Joey Hilts and Denzil Billings Jr. and Tim Charland completing the field in the 12. White flag is in the air. This race is not over with. Cledgett has the spot. Tim Bailey's going to peek to the high side this time as they go to turn number 1 and 2. That's going to open the door for Greg Hale to try to slip through. Hale takes advantage. He goes to the 2 spot off of turn number 2 and down the back straightaway. Got a couple of car leaks to make up on the 6 of Jeff Cledgett. As they roll into turn number 3 and 4, Jeff Cledgett will hold it down on that inside lane. Greg Hale, not much he can do about it. Jeff Cledgett leads every lap, scores the win in heat number 2. Greg Hale, Tim Bailey, Xavier Perrin, Denzil Billings Jr., Joey Hilts, and Tim Charland will complete it. Wow, what a heat race that was. Second heat of the Eastern Ontario Vintage Stock Car Club, and we're not stopping there. We have got the first of 2 heats in the Donath Motor Works Limited Sportsman, and Jamie Davis is back, and he's ready to go.
First qualifying event, thank you, Tim, for the Donath Motor Works Limited Sportsman. On the inside, row number 1, the 21 of Hayden Howard out of Hammond, New York. On the outside will go the 38 of Grayson Soper. Grayson also out of Harrisville, New York. Row number 2 on the inside will go the 4 of Jason Rarick. Jason out of Rodman. And on the outside, the number 90 of Caleb Howard. Kalen out of Hammond. Row number 3 on the inside will go the Mighty Might, the number 44 of Mason Rogers out of Lafargeville, New York. And on the outside, the 401K of Joe Fargo. Joseph Fargo out of Black River, New York. The next row on the inside, another Mighty Might. 12 years old, ladies and gentlemen, driving the 21J out of Star Lake, New York. That's Jackson Welling. Jackson Welling in the 21J. And in that final starting spot, he hails out of Brushton, New York. Driving the number 8, that's Steve Bushey. Stephen Bushey in the 8. 6 laps for the Donath Motor Works Limited Sportsman. All right, they wind it up coming off of turn number 4. And Mike says no. So Mike Leclerc will look him over again. And they're all back in order again. He saw something there on that start he didn't like. Cars have to wait till they get up to that pole to make their move. Round the turn they come, much better this time. Green flag is out, we're off and racing. And Hayden Howard takes that early lead out there. Grayson Soper right there, the number 2 spot. Soper goes way to the outside part of the racetrack, and Grayson off the backstretch over there. He's trying to get back on again, and they may come to a complete stop over there. And that may bring out the caution. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Caution coming out onto the speedway. And we'll have to wait and see if something broke on the car, whether he can get back in here again. He got to the outside of the racetrack and just kept right on going, right off the speedway. And he gets the car running again, but whether he'll stay out there or not, that is in question. And he gets back up to the racing surface again. And he is going to stay out there. So it might be he just got out of the loose stuff and the car did not want to turn, and he kept right on going off. Hayden Howard is your leader. Caleb Howard on the move quick right there at the beginning of that one. Mason Rogers has moved up very quickly. And the number 44, he started in the 3rd row on the inside, and he's all the way to 3rd already. Then comes the number 4 of Jason Rarick, and rounding out the top 5 will be the 21J of Jackson Welling out of Star Lake, New York. Steve Bushey is 6th. Joe Fargo is 7th. And then, of course, the 38 of Grayson Soper, who had a tough start right there. All right, pace truck is pulling off. We're getting set for a start here. 1 lap has been completed of 6 for the Doneth Motorworks Limited Sportsman. Around they come off that number 4 turn and down the front straightaway. Green flag is out and we're off and racing. Hayden Howard hanging on to that lead, but Caleb is right there. Mason Rogers down on the inside. Rogers trying to pull up to the number 2 qualifying spot as they head down the backstretch in a whole lot of hurry. It's still Hayden Howard in front. Mason Rogers takes over the number 2 spot. Caleb Howard is back in 3rd as they come down for lap number 2. Jackson Welling has moved up to 4th. And Steve Bushey rounds out the top 5 as they head down the backstretch now with Hayden Howard in front and Mason Rogers right on the back bumper. Mason trying to go to the inside part of the racetrack and take that number 1 spot away. Howard still holding on. Rogers sticks the nose underneath and he can't quite do it as Howard beats him to the turn. And down the backstretch they go, and it's still Hayden Howard in front. Mason Rogers back there in 2nd. Caleb Howard still sits there in 3rd. Jackson Welling is 4th. And Grayson Soper now rounds out the top 5. And then it goes back to the number 8 of Steve Bushey. Then the 4 of Jason Rarick. And then the 401K of Joseph Fargo. Still up in front, it's Hayden Howard. White flag is out this time around. Here's Rogers on the inside. Mason Rogers down the front straightaway, almost making his own racetrack, going to the infield almost to get by him. Rogers on the inside, Howard on the outside. It's going to be close here at the finish, and Rogers is going to get by. Mason Rogers will take that lead. They come down the front straightaway. Howard is way to the outside part of the racetrack. He may give up 3 spots right here. And Mason Rogers wins a thriller. Caleb Howard will finish in the number 2 spot. Hayden Howard will finish in 3rd. Then the 21J of Jackson Welling, and it looks like Steve Bushey has dropped a whole lot of water here on the front straightaway, so they'll have to run through that a little bit before the next heat comes out. But ladies and gentlemen, an excellent heat out there. How about a nice hand out of Lafargeville, New York, the number 44 of Mason Rogers. 2nd qualifying heat coming out onto the speedway for the Doneth Motorworks Limited Sportsman. And to call all the action for you once again, here's Tim Balls. Tim?
Thank you, Jamie Davis. As heat race number 2 is on track. And unfortunate there for Steve Bushey. He has got some problems up in between turns 1 and 2. A lot of fluid down there on the racetrack as chief starter, Mike Leclerc, pointing to some of the drivers to get them to run through that. Camden Cook in the 14 out there. Of course, he is part of the Bob Johnson Auto Group Dirt Car Sportsman division this year. Speaking of drivers in multiple divisions between Sportsman and street stocks and pro stocks, I caught a glimpse of Greg Izard. He's sitting right down there, and I believe about section 1 or 2 or 3 down in that area somewhere. I did see him.
Yeah, there's a lot of former drivers sitting up here in the stands
There
tonight.
is, yeah.
And it's, I know they'd like to be out there, some of them, but their time has come and it's gone, and they know it, and another generation coming through.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, I was sitting in the grandstands, and or not sitting in the grandstands, I was up here, obviously, and I was talking. I had somebody messaging me at intermission, and it was 1992 Pure Stock champion Todd Van Tassel. Well, that was kind of cool, but little did I know, sitting right next to him, and a message popped up, 1993 Pure Stock track champion Kevin Slate was sitting next to him. So I called them both out over the microphone, saying that they're here, whatever, having a good time. Little did I know the 1990 Pure Stock champion was sitting right next to those two, Dale Eggleston. So I had 3 of the first 5 Pure Stock champions in track history sitting right next to one another.
How would you like to sit with them for a full night? It would be unbelievable. What a great time that would be.
How many real American beers do you have, and how much time do you have?
And how many stories do you want to hear?
Oh my. We may run out of real American beer. Those of you watching on Dirt Track Digest TV,
we want to welcome you here,
yes,
across the nation and around the world with
this
us.
is what we talk about.
Yeah. Not that often.
No.
Because I'm not here that often.
I know you're not.
No.
But it's good to have you here tonight, though.
Well, thank you, Tim.
I'm glad Karen let you come out and play for a little while.
And by the way, they may run out of that beer, but they're not going to run out of stories, I promise you.
Absolutely not. Because sometimes the stories get even better as the more beers get consumed.
And
Race
whether
car
they're going to
drivers-
be believable or unbelievable, the farther they go with it. It's like fishing stories.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Race car drivers tell some pretty good stories. First they won by half a track. Next thing you know, they won by 2 laps.
Or they lap the field.
Yeah.
I came this close to lapping the second place car. Yep, okay.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Sure.
It's funny how there has been a few times where that's been true
It has
in all
been.
the years I've been watching.
Absolutely. I almost witnessed it at Mohawk a few years ago. Billy Dunn nearly lapped the field. I told him in Victory Lane, I says, how'd you know you were close to the front of the field? He says, well, I looked up and I saw Mario Claire and a couple drivers in front of me. I knew I wasn't at the back. So.
You can tell you're setting a good pace when you get along legends like that, when you get alongside of them.
Oh, my goodness. Mario Claire, Brian McDonald, George McCready.
I guess so.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Well, we are just about set, ready to get this heat underway. Good field in the Limited Sportsman tonight, brought to you by Donna's Motorworks. 16 drivers. I believe that's our biggest field to date. And again, Camden Cook, he's testing a couple of things out before his Bob Johnson Auto Group Dirt Car Sportsman Heat. Last year, Cam finished second 7 times in this division.
Yeah, they're making an awful lot of changes on that car. Jeff Cook and Tyler Meeks is in on that, and Mr. McCready. But they're making some changes on that 14 car to get it so that it's going in the right direction for them.
Green lights are on, and we're underway. As Haley Brownell up and over in turn number 1 and 2. Red lights are on immediately. Haley Brownell in the 747 got clipped. And 33, Brianna Murtaugh also spun around over there. So taking a quick look at the replay here on our monitor. Genevieve was down on the inside lane and Haley turned in and they just came together. Everybody just kind of came together. Wow, Brianna Murtaugh spun there, Jamie, and it's
incredible. The 747 car, as we watch it on the replay, went completely over the top of the entire car of Genevieve Bartlett.
It did,
right
yes.
Over it.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it again.
It's amazing that the 747 didn't land on top of the 11. Look at that.
Wow.
Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. We have the view up here.
Right.
And it's just incredible the 747 didn't end up on top of the 11 car.
Just was at a bad angle going into the corner. Really not much she could do about it. She slid up and was carrying a little bit too much momentum into the corner.
Yeah, it's a little wet on
that. Not much
that.
anybody could do down there.
As soon as we get to trackside, we'll pass it along to you, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully all are okay. Brianna Murtaugh and Haley Brownell.
Okay, so some of the cars that received damage and that are able to roll away, they were told over the one-way to clear the racetrack if they needed to. And we did receive word down trackside that Haley Brownell is okay down there. So
I think I saw one of the drivers get into the ambulance under their own power. They walked over and walked in, and they'll check the driver over, whichever one it was. And that's kind of standard procedure at racetracks now. No matter what, after an accident like that, they want to check them all over before they release them. So this is a good thing.
right.
It's safety the way it should be. Some drivers in the past, they wanted to walk away from an accident and then go in the pits after, and then something goes wrong, and not anymore. The safety crews are making sure drivers are okay. That's the first thing.
So they'll get Haley's car back to the pit area, and hopefully it's hopefully she'll be able to make repairs to that. Not sure if she'll be able to get back out later tonight or not, but we've seen you've seen race car drivers over the years. If the car is decent enough and it can go forward and backward and turn left and right, they're going to try to get back out there. That's what
the thing about that, they're right near each other.
Right.
The cars that are around them, all of a sudden they come to your rescue, and you may have started out the night with 2 people in your pit, and then you end up with 14 working on the car to get it back out there again.
Classic example. I was watching the high limit sprint car race last night with my stepdad, Mark Hitchcock. By the way, I was dropping my daughter off.
I wish I'd have been there for that.
Oh, that was a lot of fun.
Great.
Well, the opening feature crash was just absolutely terrible. Tyler Courtney, Brady Bacon, and a whole bunch of other drivers were involved in it. Bill Baylog got a bunch of it. Brad Sweet had a wing tore off his car. And within, I'd say 10, 15 minutes, after about, it seemed like 400 people working on 5 different race cars, they were able to fix these cars and get them back out there. They're all running for $100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're running for that kind of money, you're going to kind of see that kind of thing because everybody wants a good starting spot in the feature.
Exactly. Kyle Larson won that race last night, by the way. Surprise, surprise. But
I saw his picture there. He looked pretty happy. If I got $100,000, I'd be pretty happy too.
I'd have to say so too, for sure. As
we're watching it again on the replay, I think the most amazing thing here is the fact that Genevieve Bartlett went right underneath that car while it was rolling.
Right there.
It's just absolutely amazing that that car did not come down on top of her.
I am, I've seen a lot of things in racing before, but that was one I haven't seen in a while. Right over the front clip. Wow.
Well, they're going to have to cradle the car off. That is quite obvious when it comes out of a flip like that and lands like it does. It smashes it pretty good underneath.
Good folks at D&S Garage, Rick Duskus and their crew getting that car back there. Ricky Duskus has been through his battles here at Am Speedway over the years, former track champion in pure stock and in the pro stock division here as well. IMCA modifieds too, I forgot about that.
Yes, that's right.
He's very good in all that stuff. Pretty good mechanic too, D&S Garage.
Safety crew is taking a look at turn number 1. They want to make sure that there's no fluid that's been dripped onto the track. When a car gets upside down like that, it can have some oil and so on get onto the track. And they're taking a real good look at it over there.
Yeah, there's a spot down there that was obviously dug up when Haley Brownell dug in and went over, and you can see one of our safety vehicles rolling through that, and they're trying to smooth that down right now.
That can happen too when you get the car sideways. On a tacky surface, that can happen real quick.
Yep.
Sometimes when that happens, you can break a hub, and that'll send you up in the air real quick.
And we saw that this year. We saw at Brockville, and it wasn't even in a feature race. It was in a dash for cash about a month ago when Bobby Harrington did it. Right front spindle broke, and the car basically drove over the right front tire. And nothing you can do.
Nothing. It just folds up on you.
Yep. And you run over that tire, and it just launches the car. So.
They're going to run through that area down there where it dug up a little, and I guess it's okay. So, Tim?
Race control says we're good to go. We're going to come around for white next time by. One more trip around, and we will head back to green. Of course, to give a brief summary of who's won what here this season, Genevieve Bartlett won the first 3 races of the year, April 25th, May 2nd, and May the 16th, and it was Amira Bowman on May the 30th, Patrick Kadrinko on June the 6th, Caleb Howard June 13th, Mason Rogers on June the 20th. Had about 3 nights off for these drivers, and Genevieve Bartlett came back for win number 4 on July 11th. So, we're set to go back to green next time by. So, good to go green, they say. Am Speedway pace truck from Bob Johnson Auto Group ready to depart the speedway off the back stretch. A little shake up in the lineup now. Mike Durham is still your race leader. Brayden Bullock, Kingston Sprague now third, followed by the 36 of Matt Bukovan, Jay Reed and Brianna Murtaugh. And well, Brianna wants to go from 6th to the lead, but the green flag was not out. Well, Brianna wanted to go. And she knows that she had to get on the gas to get going. And a little bit too early. They almost fire at the cone over there. Down the back straightaway they go. Mike Durham in the lead as they go to turn number 3 and 4. Brayden Bullock up on that outside lane. Got a great big run up off of turn number 4. Will grab the lead off of turn 4 and down to the line. Lap number 1 goes up on the leaderboard, and it is Brayden Bullock to the point. Mike Durham back to second. Brianna Murtaugh. Matt Bukovan holding on to position number 4 as they work it down the back straightaway. Two down, 3 more to go. Mike Durham chasing the leader, Brayden Bullock, down the back straightaway to turn number 3 and 4. Brianna Murtaugh still holding on to position number 3 as she started back in position number 6 on the restart. 3 down, 3 to go, and still Brayden Bullock with the advantage, about 6 car lengths over the 6 of Mike Durham. 33 Brianna Murtaugh right there with him in spot number 3 as they make their way down into turn number 3 and 4 and down to the line. We'll have 2 laps left to go. 2 more remain. Brayden Bullock having a good run so far here as the 6 of Mike Durham. 33 Brianna Murtaugh right there with him in second and third. Field starting to space out around the racetrack as they come down to the line this time by. The white flag will be displayed. Final trip around for Brayden Bullock in the 20. Strong run so far as they work it up into turn number 1 and 2. Bullock with the advantage, about 8 car lengths right now over the 6 of Mike Durham as they hit the back straightaway. Checkered flag will be out. Checkered flag is waving. And Brayden Bullock will take it down to the inside portion of the racetrack, grabs a win in heat race number 2. Mike Durham will cross in second. Brianna Murtaugh, wounded race car and all, but she'll finish up in third, followed by Matt Bukovan, Kingston Sprague, and Jay Reed. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we just want to make a mention of this. Please stay back from the fence. When the cars are going out there on the racetrack, please stay back from the fence. Thank you. And guess what? We got Panther Frameworks crate sprint cars ready to go next. Hi, Jamie. How you doing?
I'm getting ready for sprint car action here. And Tim, the reason that we ask you to stay away from the fence this week, ladies and gentlemen, my wife Karen showed me a clip of a sprint car race, and I think it was in Kentucky. And the car jumped into the catch fence, and it's lucky that it didn't come up and through into the crowd. So the cars can get airborne and have that happen. That is why we ask you to stay away from the catch fence. You could be injured by something flying off the catch fence or something like that. Please stay away from the front straightaway, or stay away from the fence.
Very well said.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're out there. 602 crate sprint cars, Panther Frameworks sponsored division, heat number 1. On the inside, we'll go to 74 of Will Fisher. On the outside, the 25 of George Sanford out of Lafargeville. Row number 2 on the inside. We'll go to 30 of Ken Klinkowski out of Fulton. On the outside, the Tiger Chapman out of Rochester. Next goes the 557 of Pat Nolan out of Parrish, New York. And on the outside, Josh Van Brocklin in the 89X. And then the 08 of James Kaya out of Philadelphia. Green flag is out and we're racing. George Sanford will get that early lead as they head into that number 1 and 2 turn. And Bruno Richard had, one of the cars in the back there had to get around. Look out, we got a car around. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we had a shuffle of the lineup a little bit, and Bruno Richard, of course, out there added to the field here. And George Sanford in the 25 does have the lead out there. Ken Klinkowski runs there in the number 2 spot. Then it looks like Andy Hennessy out of Picton, Ontario, right there in 3rd, but they are attending to the 271 of Tiger Chapman in that number 3 and 4 turn. The right front wheel came off of that car. I don't know whether any contact was made there. It didn't quite look like it, but the wheel still coming off of that car, and fortunately, going into a turn like that, car can flip when a wheel comes off too.
Yeah, and we had just got done talking about that when with the Bobby Harrington situation there earlier this year at Brockville. Is boy, I tell you what, you go from winning a race one week to on the business end of the DNS tow truck the next week.
It can happen in this sport. You can
certainly can.
You can be in the winner's circle the one week, and then the following week you come back, and the next thing you know, you don't even make it through the hot lap session.
Exactly.
So it happens. That's the way that happens.
I can remember, I think there was an Enduro that you were calling, the Mills.
They were fun.
They were fun. One car went upside down, and I think it was that same car that ended up winning it that day. It was that man's father, Tiger Chapman.
Yeah. That would not surprise me, Eddie.
Not at all.
We had a lot of future drivers in other classes that came up through the ranks from the Enduros.
That's right.
And if you can drive in an Enduro and win one of those, or even finish in the top 5, your future with racing is a pretty good one.
I'd say
because
so.
if you can get through that, you can get through anything.
I would totally agree. That's how Austin Swamp's brother Owen White got so good.
That's right. Driving in the Enduros.
He went from mini stock champion one year to Super Dirt Week Rookie of the Year on the mile and the pro stocks that same year. Well, pace truck's off, and we're going green here, Jamie.
Okay, here they come. Mike Leclerc looking them over. Says, make sure you're in line in the post. And they are, and green flag is out. And George Sanford takes that lead out there. 3 of them across the track for the lead as they hit the number 1 turn. But Sanford came out ahead as they head down the backstretch. Klinkowski runs there in the number 2 spot. Bruno Richard to the outside, trying to take over that number 3 qualifying spot. But the 87 of Andrew Hennessy is not about to give it up easy. So a great battle going on for 3rd. Sanford still up on top, though. Klinkowski runs back there 2nd. Andy Hennessy right there in the number 3 spot. Bruno Richard right back there 4th. Halfway sign is out, and George Sanford is waiting for nobody out there. And the longtime veteran holds about a 6-car length lead over his nearest competitor, Klinkowski, who is back there in the number 2 spot. And the battle continues. It's a big battle for that number 3 spot. Bruno Richard on the inside makes a slick move to get by the number 87 of Andrew Hennessy, and takes up at the number 3 qualifying spot. But it is all George Sanford right now. George, local favorite from right here in Lafargeville. White flag is out, and Sanford has opened up about a 10 to 11 car length lead over Klinkowski in the number 30. Richard runs back there in 3rd. Then a gap of about 7 back to Andrew Hennessy. Checkered flag is coming out, and it is all George Sanford. Sanford with the win. Klinkowski will finish in 2nd. Bruno Richard will finish in 3rd. And the 87 of Andrew Hennessy out of Picton, Ontario will get the number 4 spot. A very convincing win, Tim Balls, by the number 25, ladies and gentlemen, out of Lafargeville, New York, George Sanford.
The 2-sport phenom gets it done. George Sanford get it done on the lanes, and he can get it done in a race car. We've seen that before as well. Heat race number 2 for the Panther Frameworks Crate Sprint Cars ready to roll trackside right now. Coming up after this, we are going to have the first of 2 Whitesboro Plow Shop Dirt Car 358 modified heat races. Here's the way the lineup's going to go for this the second heat for the sprint car. It's going to be Rachel Zacharias, 71 on the pole. Three-time and defending track champion, the man who just drove by us here, Josh Fargo Jr. in the 1B will start on the outside of row 1. Row 2 is going to be Nick Webb, 27, Z28, Tucker Donath. Row number 3, Chad Kramer, the 89, alongside of Josh Van Brocklin in the 89X. Final row, it's going to be James Kaya in the number 08. Well, I talked about race car drivers that show up on an off night to become race fans. Dirt Car 358 modified driver at the Brockville, Ontario Speedway. Driver of the 22S, Shane Stearns, is in the house tonight. And his longtime girlfriend Carrie are here, taking in the racing program tonight via the grandstands. They got that 22S primed and ready to go, and they're sitting to my direct left, right over here. And he's loving every bit of the attention. Dirt Track Digest cameras are right up above us, Shane, so you can't hide either. You got that 22 ready to go for tomorrow night? Oh, you're going to win tomorrow. Okay, I see how it is. Yeah.
Some nights you got to be a fan, some nights you got to be a driver.
Absolutely. Well, good to have you both here tonight, and glad you're enjoying the show. We're ready to go. Am Speedway pace truck is peeled off the speedways. Josh Fargo Jr., Rachel Zacharias on the front row. Green lights are on. 6 laps the distance. We're underway. And Josh Fargo Jr. shows you why he's a 3-time track champion here. Pulls away with a lead. Nick Webb, who's got a feature win with us this season, pulls it to second. Tucker Donath up to the 3 spot as Zacharias falls all the way back to 4th. But Josh Fargo Jr. on the hammer as they click off lap number 1. Vern to the point as they go to turn number 1 and 2. The 89X of Josh Van Brocklin, former Sportsman track champion here, takes away the 4 spot with the 89N. I believe that's Chris Nethers aboard that car right now from what they're telling us. Holding on to spot number 6 as they click off lap number 2. But Josh Fargo Jr. well in command of the field as they hit the back straightaway one more time. Vern on a big win streak over at the Brockville Speedway. He's going to go for 6 in a row tomorrow night. Right now, he wants to get his 2nd win of the season if he could. Right now, we're 3 down, 3 more to go. It's all Josh Fargo Jr., the man out of 3 City York, working the bottom side of the racetrack at turn number 1 and 2. Behind him, Brownville's Nick Webb, the 27, along with Palermo, New York's Tucker Donath, and the 28. Back to position number 3 with Van Brocklin and Nethers, your top 5. James Kaya completes it with 2 laps left to go. Vern well in control as they work it down the back straightaway. It's nearly a straightaway advantage right now for Vern as they head up into turn number 3 and 4. Josh, 2 heat wins on the season. Would like to get win number 3 if he can. Down across the line. White flag in the air for Josh Fargo Jr. Nick Webb still 2nd. Good battle here with him and Tucker Donath as they set sail into turn number 1 and 2. Webb still 2nd. But Donath putting the pressure on. Checkered flag is in the air, and this is sheer domination. One of Josh Fargo Jr. will collect the victory. A straightaway lead at the checkered flag. Nick Webb will cross in 2nd. Tucker Donath 3rd. Josh Van Brocklin will come home 4th. James Kaya 5th. And Chris Nethers will round out the field in position number 6. That'll do it. Panther Frameworks Crate Sprint Cars are now complete. We are going to go to the first of 2. Whitesboro Plow Shop Dirt Car 358 Modified Heats. And with a call, heat number 1, Jamie Davis.
Qualifying heat number 1 for the 358 Modifieds, 8 laps. The top 5 transfer to the main event. On the pole, row number 1 on the inside will go the 63 of Adam Roberts out of Watertown. And on the outside, the 66W of Derek Webb. Derek out of Brownville. Row number 2 on the inside will go the 21 of Andrew Howard out of Hammond. And on the outside, the 18W of Scott Webb. Scott out of Brownville. Row number 3 on the inside will go the Am Speedway sponsored car number 39 of Ryan Bartlett. Ryan out of Watertown. And on the outside will go the 23 of Cameron Black. Cameron from right here in Lafargeville. Row number 4 on the inside, the 7S of Sean Shaw. Sean out of Philadelphia. And on the outside, the 45R of Preston Forbes. Preston out of Potsdam. And in that final starting spot will go the 22X of Mike Richmond. Mike out of Vernon, New York. 9 cars. Pace truck is pulling off. We're going to go 358 modified racing. Off the turn they come. Mike LeClaire says, yep, you look good. Here they come. And Scott Webb. Webb sits back there in second. Derek Webb is back in third. Bartlett's back in the number 4 spot. Sean Shaw is back there in 5th. Andy Howard sits there in the number 6 spot. Around the turn they come, and it's still Adam Roberts up in front with that number 63. And the second generation driver is doing a nice job out there in this first event. But here comes the 18 of Scott Webb. Scott wants to go up to the number 1 qualifying spot. And Webb to the bottom side of the racetrack. He's trying to take that spot away, and he will be successful as they come down the front straightaway. Scott Webb in the lead. Roberts is back there in the number 2 spot. Bartlett has moved up to 3rd now. Sean Shaw is back there 4th. Derek Webb rounds out the top 5, is also moving up the line as the 22X of Mike Richmond out of Vernon, New York. He is up to 6th now. Halfway mark is out. The 18W is Scott Webb. And a gap of 3 back to Roberts in the 63. Ryan Bartlett is making a move on the inside part of the racetrack. He wants to go up to the number 2 qualifying spot. Roberts holds him off as they go through the number 3 and 4 turn. Here's Bartlett on the inside part of the racetrack, and he will take over the number 2 spot. Roberts drops back to 3rd. Sean Shaw is in there 4th. And a pair of them going after it for the top 5 spot there. Howard on the inside. Mike Richmond on the outside. Richmond wants to go up to that 5th and final qualifying spot with 2 laps left to go. But Howard fights back on the inside. And Richmond drops back to the number 6 spot. Around the turn they come. Out in front, it is still Scott Webb in the 18W. Bartlett still sits there in 2nd. Sean Shaw is 3rd. Adam Roberts is back there 4th. Howard hangs on to 5th. Richmond's back there in 6th. Then comes Cameron Black in 7th. Derek Webb is 8th. And the 45R of Preston Forbes. Checkered flag is out. And Scott Webb will take this one. Ryan Bartlett will finish in the number 2 spot. Sean Shaw will get 3rd. Adam Roberts will finish in 4th. Andrew Howard will finish in the 5th and final qualifying spot to transfer into the main event. Ladies and gentlemen, a great run out there. How about a nice hand out of Brownville, New York, the 18W of Scott Webb. Heat number 2 coming out onto the speedway to call all the action for you once again. Here's Tim Balls. Tim?
Thank you very much, Jamie. As we're just about set and ready to go, heat race number 2. Rolling trackside is RJ Trissetter. In the number 21R, he is out of Edwards, New York. Alongside of him from Evans Mills, the 9, that's Tyler Meeks. Row number 2, the 12 of Madison Bowman out of Mexico. Alongside of him, 4-time defending track champion and the winner at the Cornwall Motor Speedway this past Wednesday night in the Dirt Car 358 Modified Series race and $10,000 richer. That's the 19 of Tim Fuller. Row number 3, Lance Willicks out of Threesen, the 31 with Vernon, New York's Willie Decker Jr. in car number 1. Behind him, inside row number 4 in the 49, last week's feature winner, current point leader, that's the 49 of Billy Dunn out of Watertown. Alongside of him, Franklin Mackin. He was fastest in the hot lap session in car number 3 out of Russell. From Central Square, New York, glad to have this driver back with us in car number 18S, that is Sean Beardsley. Beardsley ready to go from 9th. Second and final heat in the Whitesboro Plow Shop Dirt Car 350 Modified Heat Events. First of 3, Bob Johnson Auto Group Dirt Car Sportsman Heats ready to go after that. Green lights are on and we are underway. And a wild start there. RJ Trissetter pushed way wide up off of turn number 2 and down the back straightaway, but Addison Bowman to the lead as they click off lap number 1 this time by. And RJ Trissetter, something's not right with that race car because that thing went straight to the wall. Nearly collected a couple other cars. But in the meantime, Hasn't affected Addison Bowman one bit as he charges away with the lead. Tyler Meeks now to second. Willicks up to third. Billy Dunn charging forward. He's now to the 4 spot. Tim Fuller lost a bunch of spots on that initial start. He's all the way back to 5th and actually challenging Billy Dunn for position number 4 right now as they enter into turn number 1 and 2. Addison Bowman continues to show the way. Tyler Meeks still second. Lance Willicks, Billy Dunn, Tim Fuller, the top 3, and the points all knotted right together. Dunn trying to make a big move in that outside lane. The last few weeks, one of the only drivers that's been able to figure out that outside lane has been Billy Dunn in the 49, and he made it work down there in turn number 3 and 4. Trying to make it work down here in turn 1 and 2 and down the backstretch. He's even turns with Willicks into turn number 3. Willicks able to drive it deeper into the corner, able to take that spot back as they work it off in turn number 3 and 4 and down to the line with 4 complete. 4 down, 4 more to go. It's all Addison Bowman right now. Tyler Meeks having a great run, holding on to second. 31 Lance Willicks still third. Dunn and Fuller the top 5 right now, but Addison Bowman is checking out on the field here. Half straightaway advantage as they click off lap number 5. Battle on for the 3 spot. Willicks down low. Billy Dunn upstairs. Willicks takes the spot for the time being, and Lance Willicks now to third. Dunn gets a good run up off the top side though. He'll try to pull even with Willicks into turn number 3 and 4. Willicks on the bottom, Dunn upstairs on the high side as they come down to the line with 2 laps left to go. 2 to go. Addison Bowman's led every lap so far. The 9 and Tyler Meeks now in a battle with Lance Willicks for the runner-up position as they head up into turn number 3 and 4. White flag is in the air, and Addison Bowman trying to take it home as they come across the line. White flag in the air. Oh, and Bowman, a big plume of smoke out of the back of the 12. And that'll change the outcome of this race significantly. Tyler Meeks is going to go to the lead. Lance Willicks now to second. Dunn to third. Fuller comes up to 4th. Checkered in the air, and an unexpected heat wind coming up here as Tyler Meeks will grab the win. Yellow and checkered are out. Meeks gets the victory. Willicks, Dunn, Fuller, your top 4. Willie Decker Jr. will cross 5th. R.J. Trusetter, Franklin Mack, and Sean Beardsley in an unfortunate turn of events for Addison Bowman. That car just launched coming down the front straightaway, and his night, I believe, could be over with. Wow. Seen a few of those over the years, haven't we,
We
sir?
sure have. I remember back when the track was a little longer than this. It was basically a 5/8 of a mile on the outside.
Yep.
And we saw a few of those blow up here. This is long before the rev limiter was put in
Exactly.
to try to prevent that from happening, but sometimes the fellows like to put the gear to them. And
Oh, yeah. You mean the layout of the track that last year that felt like you drove to Watertown and back every lap? That's how long the straightaways were.
I remember Tim Hatt was up here one time. He was a regular runner at Ransomville and Maryville, and those are a little bit smaller tracks. First time he was on the front straightaway here, he thought he was in an airport taking off with a plane. He said, "Where's the end of this thing?"
That doesn't surprise me
when he came
one
down
bit.
the front straightaway the first time.
Absolutely. Well, we're set to go. First of 3 heats in the Bob Johnson Auto Group Dirt Car Sportsman. Mr. Davis, it is all you, my friend.
Thank you, Tim, and here we go. Row number 1 on the inside, we'll go the 1D of Paul DeRudder out of Inlet, New York, and on the outside, the 54 of Brady Howard. Row number 2 on the inside, the 621 of Trevor Gibbons, out of Carthage, New York. Jessica Powers on the outside. In the 52, Gavin Isley in the 18, Taylor Dockstader in the 44, Jonathan Murphy in the 62, and the 4C of Michelle Kersey. Green flag is out, and we're off and racing. And Gibbons down on the inside of DeRudder wants to take away that number 1 spot right off the bat as they head down the backstretch. Brady Howard on the outside, Gibbons on the inside for that number 2 spot. Around they come for the first lap, and it looks like it's going to be Paul DeRudder. 3 of them across the track for second back there as Gibbons holds on to the number 2 spot. Isley moved up to 3rd. Brady Howard is back there 4th, and now moving into the 5th spot, the 44 of Taylor Dockstader out of Philadelphia. Jessica Powers sits back there in 6th as they come off the turn. Way to the outside part of the racetrack goes the 54 of Brady Howard. He got up into the loose stuff there, and that allowed a couple of cars to get on by as they head down the backstretch. It's still Paul DeRudder up in the number 1 spot. Trevor Gibbons is back there in 2nd. Moving on up through the pack is Taylor Dockstader in the number 44. but it's still DeRudder the leader. Gibbons back there in the number 2 spot. Taylor Dockstader sits there in 3rd. Isley is back there 4th. Jessica Power sits there in the number 5 spot. Caution is out, as we have the number 54, Brady Howard, stopped here on the front stretch. And he gets the car going again. And Tim, Brady came out of that turn. It looked a little funny. He looked like he had his line, and then all of a sudden he just jumped up over the loose stuff there. And I don't know whether that's what caused him to stop down here in front. Something went wrong there somewhere.
It could have probably jumped out of gear on him or something. Anyways, he did shut it down, but he's got it. Looks like he's got it rolling pretty good right now. I talked to Brady last week as everybody was leaving the racetrack. I met him outside the gate and had a pretty good conversation with him. He says, you know, we're running good now. We're starting to find quite a bit of speed in this race car. And he's been not only happy with regular season runs, but he's been particularly pleased with him and his team, how they have qualified for every Dirt Car Sportsman Series race that we've had here at Can-Am from basically the end of last year to this year in July. He's run very, very good.
And that is not an easy task to do in the Sportsman division, because these cars are as even as it gets, because it's all set up in momentum in this class now.
Yep.
It's not all about the horsepower.
And it's all crate motors, and you know, everybody's on the gas, and they got their foot buried right through to the carburetor, as some people like to say. And that's pretty well true,
or
right?
as far as they'll go, or the rev limiter will let them go.
Yeah, exactly. So they're they're trying. Brady won 5 times last year in the Donis Motorworks Limited Sportsman, but he says they're pleased with how their season's gone. Just need a little bit of luck and some good track position, and we might be talking to him in victory lane.
Well, he was looking really good up there in the beginning of this qualifying heat, and then when he hit that number 4 turn, I don't know what happened there. I don't know whether he just missed his line or whether he wanted to change it at the last minute, but what he did, he got into the loose stuff, and that cost him.
Absolutely.
Round they come. Off that number 3 and 4 turn. 3 laps have been completed. Out of 8, green flag is out, and we are racing. And the runner trying to hang up. Runner, and Jessica Power is moving on up. And Jessica bobbles a little bit coming off the turn, but still in front. The 44 of Taylor Dockstader. The runner's right there in the number 2 spot. 3 of them across the track for 2nd place right there. And Power up to 3rd now. Gibbons has dropped back to 4th. Gavin Isley runs back there in 5th. And then comes the 4C of Michelle Corsi. Down the front straightaway they go. It's still the 44 of Taylor Dockstader up in front. Power is trying to take away the number 2 spot from DeRudder, and Power on the inside, DeRudder on the outside. And Paul is not about to give up that number 2 spot. He finally does, as Jessica Power down on the inside, and coming off that number 4 turn, Power into 2nd. Gavin Isley trying to take over the number 3 qualifying spot, and he does so. As DeRudder drops back to 4th, Gibbons is back in 5th. Corsi is in 6th. And then come the 62 of Jonathan Murphy out of Carthage. White flag is out this time around for the 44 of Taylor Dockstader. Jessica Power right there in the number 2 spot, but Gavin Isley is knocking on the door trying to pick up that number 2 qualifying spot. DeRudder is back there in 4th. And Trevor Gibbons sits there in 5th. Checkered flag is out. Dockstader will win it, and at the buzzer, Gavin Isley gets by the 52 of Jessica Power for the number 2 spot. Power will finish in 3rd, DeRudder 4th. Gibbons will finish in 5th. Then the 4C of Michelle Corsi, and then the 62 of Jonathan Murphy. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a nice hand out of Philadelphia, New York, the number 44 of Taylor Dockstader. 2nd qualifying event for the Bob Johnson Dirt Car Sportsman coming out onto the Speedway. Once again, here's Tim Baltz. Tim?
Thank you very much, Jamie. As Frank Sibley in the 92, the Otter Creek Winery ride goes to the point. Outside will be the 17 of Owen Nyer. Row number 2, this man nearly won the feature 1 week ago. This is the 9 of Logan Brown out of Clayton to his outside out of Carthage, the 34 of Eric Nyer. Row number 3, the 21 of Gage Howard out of Chippewa Bay. Alongside of him will be the 28 of Tyler Stevenson. final row. It's going to find the 5 of Amira Bowman, and alongside of Amira in car number 4, that is J.J. Corsi. So we are set to go. 8 laps is going to be the distance. And we are set for green. Off of turn number 4, green lights are on and we're underway. And a mad dash into turn number 1 and 2 is going to be Frank Sibley on in front of the field as he hit the back straightaway for the very first time. Owen Nyer back to second. Eric Nyer into third, but Logan Brown is on a roll here at the Am Speedway. Led 18 of the 20 laps a week ago and is now up into spot number 4, looking for another one around Eric Nyer, but won't get it. Lap number 1, and it is the 92 of Sibley. Well out in front of the field as they hit the back straightaway. 17 of Owen Nyer still there in spot number 2. Eric Nyer is third. And right now Logan Brown using that extreme outside lane to hold off the 28 of Tyler Stevenson for the time being. Clean and green in the opening 2 laps. 92 Frank Sibley still in command of the field as they work down the back straightaway. Sibley starting to drive away from the field. Now he's got about 3 car lengths over Eric Nyer. He's in a battle with Owen Nyer for position number 2 as they work it through turn number 3 and 4 and back down to the line. Lap number 3 up on the board. It's Frank Sibley. Well in control. Busy weekend of racing for Frank Sibley here tonight at Can-Am. Going to be making the trip to the Land of Legends Raceway for the Dirt Car Sportsman Central Series race tomorrow night on a similar type of racetrack. And yes, I did remember that one. As they come down to the line, we've got 4 laps down, 4 more to go. First or second of 3 heats in the Bob Johnson Auto Group Dirt Car Sportsman, and Frank Sibley has been in command from the drop of the green flag. The 34 of Eric Nyer bouncing through a bump down there in turn number 3 and 4. He'll cross the line as they click off lap number 5. 5 down, 3 to go. Frank Sibley has been in command right from the get-go. Eric Nyer trying to run him down. Eric has had no such luck in doing that. He settles into second. Owen Nyer has faded just a little bit. He's back to the 3 spot into the clutches of Logan Brown and the 9, who had a big run there through turn number 3 and 4. 2 laps left to go, and Sibley trying to take it home here for another heat win this season. Owen Nyer in a battle now with Logan Brown for position number 3 and 4. Tyler Stevenson 5th, and it's J.J. Corsi, Amira Bowman, and Gage Howard completing it. White flag is in the air this time by for Frank Sibley. He'll set it up into turn number 1 and 2. Still got a couple of car lengths on the 34 of Eric Nyer as they work it down the back straightaway. Checkered flag will be waving this time by, and Frank Sibley trying to hold on and win it. Eric Nyer, big charge down to the inside lane into turn number 3 and 4 is not going to happen. Frank Sibley, 4th heat win of the season. Eric Nyer a very close second. Owen Nyer comes home 3rd. Logan Brown, Tyler Stevenson, J.J. Corsi, Amira Bowman, and Gage Howard will complete the rest of your field. And for those keeping score at home, Frank Sibley's 4th heat win of the season. That puts him atop the leaderboard as far as heat races is concerned in the Bob Johnson Auto Group Dirt Car Sportsman. I figured I had to mention that. As we're set to go, heat race number 3. Hearts ready to go. You got nicknames for everybody, Jamie. You got one coming up right now. You got a good buddy of yours on the pole for this one too, right?
Yes, I do. 3rd qualifying event for the Sportsman coming out onto the speedway. Starting on the pole, row number 1 on the inside. We'll go the 14 out of Evans Mills, New York, Cam the Man Cook. Cam Cook in the 14. On the outside, we'll go the 18G of Justin Gadbaugh out of Natural Bridge. 2nd row on the inside. We'll go the 34K of Keegan Nyer. And on the outside, the 5R of Steve Roberts. Steve out of Harrisville. 3rd row on the inside, we'll go the 32RS of Ryan Shanahan out of Carthage. And on the outside, the 33 of Richard Murtaugh. The number 2 is Greg Henry out of Clayton, New York. And on the outside, the 83, Grayson Adderley. Now the front straightaway they come. Green flag is out, and we're off and racing. 3 of them across the track for first. 3 of them across the track for second. And something had to give there, and it did. Car up on the high side of the racetrack trying to get back out there again. And a caution probably will be coming out right here.
Yellow.
And Mike Leclerc says caution right here, and when you get 3 of them across the track for first and 3 of them across the track for second, something is bound to give there. The car that was involved was Justin Gadbaugh in the 18G. So attrition rate, ladies and gentlemen, high in this rate. Pace truck coming out, caution remaining out onto the speedway as they shuffle the field and get them back in order again. So the cars will regroup with the 18G of Justin Gadbaugh going to the back. White flag is coming out from Mike Leclerc, and we are going to go back racing once again next time around. No laps have been completed. This is a 8-lap event. 4 will transfer to the main event. Camden Cook up in that front row. And on the pole to start this one. Again, the first lap was not completed due to the incident in turn number 1 involving Justin Gadbaugh. All right. Here they come off that number 3 and 4 turn. Down the front straightaway, Mike Leclerc says you look good, and green flag is out. And Cook gets that lead. Nair right there, the 34 right behind him. Ryan Shanahan trying to move up on the inside. Shanahan trying to take away that number 2 qualifying spot. Nair on the outside. Shanahan on the low side of the racetrack, but right now it's Camden Cook, the leader, as they come down the front straightaway. Keegan Nair sits back there in second. Here's Shanahan up on the inside to try to take that spot away. He continues to battle for it as they head down the backstretch side by side for the number 2 qualifying spot. And they come around. It's Camden Cook out in front. Richard Murtaugh sits there in second now, I'm sorry. The 34K of Keegan Nair drops back to third. And Murtaugh wants to go up to the number 1 qualifying spot, but it's still Camden Cook up in front. Murtaugh right there in second. Keegan Nair is back there in third. Then comes the 32 of Ryan Shanahan. And Richard Murtaugh out of Fulton, New York, right there in the number 2 spot. He wants to go up to the number 1 spot, and he's going to get to the outside part of that racetrack. And that's a very fast lane out there right now. Around to come, and it's still Camden Cook out in front. Murtaugh's right there. Side-by-side action here in this qualifying heat. Neither one is going to give an inch out there. Murtaugh will try him to the inside part of the racetrack. Cam holds on to the number 1 spot. Murtaugh right there in second. A great battle shaping up out there in this heat. And 2 laps remaining. It's Cook and Murtaugh putting on a clinic out there on how to drive a Sportsman car. Cook in front by just a little bit. Murtaugh has tried everything he can to get around the outside of the 14 car, but he has not been successful. Here's Cook back to the outside part of the racetrack. White flag is out. Murtaugh back there in second. Eric Nyer sits there in third. Adderley is back there fourth. And it's Camden Cook, still your leader. Hippity hop to the barber shop through that number 3 turn, but he's going to take that checkered flag and it will win this qualifying event. Murtaugh will finish in second. Keegan Dyer will finish in third. Adderley will get the number 4 spot. Ladies and gentlemen, he hails out of Evans Mills, New York. How about a nice hand for Cam the Man, Camden Cook. And Tim Balls, what a battle that was.
That was an incredible battle.
That was old school all the way, that one.
When you go toe-to-toe with a point leader like that, and you just come out of limited sportsman and you beat the man, tell you what, you're doing something right. Have you been teaching him these driving habits?
Not a thing.
Not a thing.
He probably would teach me, and I still wouldn't know what to do afterwards.
A former racer like yourself?
Absolutely. Sundance Leisure Thundercar is coming out onto the speedway and to call all the action for this first qualifying event. Here's the one and only Tim Balls.
I hope there's only one of me. It'd be dangerous if there was more than one.
No.
Actually, there is more than one. He's standing right down there in front of me. My giant little brother Kevin is right here. He's a huge Kyle Larson fan. Did you get a cut of the 100 grand he won last night, Kev, or no? None? Not at all. Me neither. Heat race number 1 for the Sundance Leisure Thundercars. Colby Hibbard will go from the pole in the 28. Outside will be O.J. White in the 94. Row 2, Tyler Collette, 25. 19, Colin Potter. Row number 3, 2023 track champion here, the 60 of Francis White, 26 of Damian Beckler. Final row, Tyler Woods on a constable in the 02E. And I gotta prove something down there too. If they can hear me down there. Hey, big little brother Kevin, look up. They are not even paying attention to me.
Those watching us on DTD TV, we have this kind of fun each and every week here at Can-Am International Speedway.
Apparently the fans want this autographed or something. I don't know.
You got your Sharpie or no?
Oh, I guess so. I got it right here.
All right. I made one flub in that last race, so you can put that on the board.
You messed up? No way.
Yeah, I'm only allowed one more, so I've got a bunch of races left to do, and one more, and I'm out of here then.
Well, that makes 2 of us, because if we both messed up, then well,
I have an excuse though. I'm 68 years old with bad eyesight. Your excuse is what? That's what I thought.
Yep, I got nothing.
Sundance Leisure Cars are out here, and here's Tim Balls.
Okay, perfect. Sounds like a plan.
Must be on the draw.
So there is a little bit of a discussion in the lineup. So Ron White is actually supposed to drop back.
What's the problem?
The 60 white, they don't know who it is. The one right there.
So the discrepancy here is Ron White in the 60 is actually supposed to be in heat race number 2, and he has mistakenly come out in this one.
Oh, yeah, stopped up the hill.
Hey, Sean Shaw's down front. There he is. That's our feature winner from a couple of weeks ago, team.
That is an up-and-coming driver and a half right there.
Absolutely. Won his first ever modified feature a couple of seasons ago.
And the one thing about Sean that he's doing that is right,
Yep.
you don't have to win every race to win a point championship. And he's had enough top 5 finishes to keep him right up in there and then the hunt.
Oh, he certainly has. Checking out his season while I got it right here in front of me. Last 3 weeks for Sean Shaw. A win on June 13th, 8th on June the 20th, July 11th. He finished second. Despite a couple of blips on the radar at the end of May and start of June.
Well, if you're going to do those blips, that's the time of year you want to do them.
Exactly.
Not at the end. Like when you get into right now,
Yep.
through August, you got to take the blips off the radar.
And if you're running good in the part of the year where it's really hot and everybody's aggravated enough to begin with, then you're having a good season.
He is. We're going to see something out of some of these young and up-and-coming drivers. We mentioned Sean Shaw, R.J. Trisitter. This is your future in the modified division, and I think you're going to see these two come to the very top sometime or another, and it's just a matter of time.
I agree, and you've seen enough of them over the years to notice that.
Yes, if you watch them long enough, you can tell when this consistency, I noticed out of those two especially,
right,
that they're going to be up in there one of these times, and they're going to be tough to beat.
Absolutely, and look forward to when those days start to happen, because they'll be the ones ripping off 7, 8, 9 win seasons a year. So we'll see what the future holds as we're ready to go. Those of you watching live on Dirt Track Digest TV, glad you could join us. Timmy Baltz, Jamie Davis up in the booth, calling all the action for you.
And whatever you do,
yes,
no matter what you hear and what happens between Tim Baltz and I, don't switch to another racetrack and start watching.
Please stay with us. Green lights are back on. 6 laps is the distance, and O.J. White, it has been a very long time since he last won a feature here at the Am Speedway. He's got the lead as he hit the back straightaway. Colin Botter to second. Tyler Collette there third. And Tyler Collette's going to go for an alternate off-road excursion through the infield there in turn number 3 and parks it right before the light pole. And we were going to stay green as they click off lap number 1. 94 of O.J. White in control. The 19 of Botter still there for position number 2. Tyler Collette in the 25. We'll get it collected up. Tyler Collette comes from a strong racing family as well. I believe his dad, Timmy Collette, ran in the pure stock ranks for a number of years here locally. Tyler's had some really good runs this year as well. Tyler Collette, best finish of 4th on July the 11th this year. All top 10 runs, the 4 starts he's had. But O.J. White, been a while since he's won a feature here at Can-Am. We've talked about that over the last couple of weeks. And we are set to turn him loose. 1 down, 5 more to go. First of 2 heats in the Sundance Leisure Thundercar as green lights are back on and we're underway. And again, O.J. White picks up the lead. Colin Botter's going to take advantage on the high side, though. He'll take the top spot as they click off lap number 2 next time by, but OJ trying to fight back on the inside lane. Francis White, the 60T, holding on to the 3 spot. Then it is the 28 of Colby Hibbert along with the 02E of Tyler Woods as they bring it back across the line for lap number 2 with Potter in control. OJ White still second, still about 3 car lengths back in position number 2. 60 of Francis White still third as he exit corner number 2 and down the back straightaway. Halfway home this time by, 3 down, 3 more to go. Colin Botter trying to hold on and win this heat race. But OJ White's going to put all the pressure on him he can as they work it down across the line for lap number 3. 3 laps are complete. And Colin Botter has never won a heat race here at Can-Am in the Sundance Leisure Thundercar, as he'd like to get one here. OJ White, he hasn't won a heat race in a long time either, so a couple of drivers at the front really want to get to victory lane if they can as they work it down across the line one more time. 2 laps left to go. Battle on for the 3 spot right now. Francis White has that 3rd spot. Colby Hibbert and the 02E of Tyler Woods trying to take it away as they go into turn number 1 and 2 and down the backstretch. But meanwhile, your top 2 have checked out from the field. Colin Botter and OJ White, they have been dominant here today. White flag in the air for Colin Botter. Holds about a 3 car length lead over the 94 of OJ White as they go to turn number 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway. Francis White has picked it back up. He's now into the 3 spot. Colby Hibbert and the 02E of Tyler Woods completed. Checkered flag is in the air. Checkered flag is waving. And the win, his first heat win, will go to Colin Botter in the 19. He's got, well, look at the fist pumping in the air. He's got this one. Second will go to OJ White. Third still up for grabs. Francis White has it, and it looks like that's where he is going to finish. Tyler Woods and the 28 of Colby Hibbert will complete.